You're listening to Gen XP. Let's play some games.
Previously on the Shattered World of Voar, the flight from the Song of Iron was harried by pirates riding giant bats, and a fire that threatened to spread out of control. The lonely horizon sped through the clouds as Avo, Theric, and the rest of the crew fought to defend their ship. From open-air acrobatics to dazzling swordsmanship, they managed to eventually win out the day, and beaten and weary they retired to their leisure for the evening. Theric pulled on the magic of his craft and summoned an owl of Fey ancestry, forming a bond with his new familiar that goes simply by Hoot at this time. On the lookout for a safe island to make port, the lonely horizon drifts in the clouds, hoping to find someplace safe for much-needed repairs. Welcome back to the Shattered World of Voar. The next morning, the two of you awaken in your room, refreshed, rested, less sore. I'm not going to say not at all, but some of the beatings that you took yesterday, still bruises and a bit of soreness, but you do feel recovered from the previous adventure. You can feel the ship kind of creak and groan as it's sailing through the air still. You know that it is morning based on a little bit of activity that you hear outside of the room, as well as the bell that was rang for morning meal. But you awaken, get up, begin gathering your things for the day.
So I'm going to make my way on the deck, look around, see if we found an island or if I see any islands in the distance.
Okay. The ship is still, the Lonely Horizon is still sailing through just cloud-filled void. It's not sailing at the speed that it was when you escaped last night, but it is just at its normal traveling speed. The few crew that are on the deck, you see Webb and Lonnie that are on opposite sides of the front of the prow, just kind of keeping an eye out, looking for an island. The Quartermaster Hillman is at the wheel. You don't see the captain, and from the sounds of it, the rest of the crew, or possibly part of the rest of the crew, are down in the mess eating at the moment.
I was just going to go to the mess for then quick, and then go up on deck unless I get distracted while I'm down in the mess if everybody else is there.
Okay. Yeah, in the mess, it's Ranford and Nani, as well as Deborah is at one of the tables, heavily bandaged, looking a little pale, but doing okay. And Cilantro is like making him eat a bowl of soup for breakfast, which he seems less than happy about. She's, quickly hands everybody that comes down, and the two of you come down for food. She hands you bowls of food very quickly, and then goes back to basically harassing First Mate Deborah into eating. You grab what you're going to grab. Ava, you said you returned back to the deck of the ship, just to do what?
Just to look out into whatever.
Okay.
I mean, if it's empty, that's empty. Just to take in the space around.
Nice. Okay. What about Theric?
Well, if Avo's going to take his food back on the deck, I'll take my food back on the deck.
Okay.
But I'll grab, is there any, you said there's a bowl of soup, but is there any, biscuits or anything like that?
There's biscuits. There's a little bit of fruit.
Sausage.
There's no sausage.
You gave all that away.
In fact, there's no meat at the moment. There is like a porridge. There's a vegetable soup that First Mate Deborah is eating, and then there are biscuits. There's one or two very browned apples, but no meat. And you notice that there is. I think Abo, you were a little quicker to grab food and head up. Theric, you're asking what's down there. I think you're the one that notices that there is jugs of wine and ale, but no water or anything else. You grab what you grab.
And go back up, or go up and I'll look for Avo and then go sit next to him.
The two of you find yourselves on the lonely horizon, sharing a breakfast as you watch the clouds slowly pass by. Quartermaster Hillman kind of looks down to you, nods, and then is just continuing to sail into the distance. You're not really sure where you are.
Want to see a trick?
Always.
I'll reach into my pocket and feel around for a minute. Hold on, I almost got it. And then I'll pull Hoot out.
A full-size, a full 1 foot tall owl appears, kind of alien looking a little bit on the edges. You're not sure, you can't quite put your finger on why it doesn't look quite right. Beyond the fact that it just came out of a pocket in your friend's coat. White at the top. Its head is mostly made of eyes, as far as its eyes take up 90% of its head.
I say, Avo, this is Hoot. Hoot, this is Avo.
And Theric, in your head, you hear, I am Hoot.
For a second, I thought shortage of meat. You know. All right. Well, guess not.
Yeah, it just kind of like
I was gonna feed him, but no. Do you like soup? I hold this phone up to.
It looks down at this. Hoot looks down at the spoon. His head kind of tips and his beak pecks against the spoon a little bit. And in your head, it's not a mouse.
I didn't like soup.
Are you two as well keeping an eye out for any possible port?
I'm looking for anything, but not as. I don't know that I'm looking for a port as much. Just taking in the surroundings.
Okay. Give me perception check. Also, if you'd like to, as well, Theric, it's up to you. Or you can focus more on your breakfast.
Right now, I'm eating my breakfast.
Okay.
22.
Theric, you do feel something strange in your pouch. You felt something shifted in your pouch when you were eating your breakfast just now.
Oh.
22. Avo, you kind of just staring out into the wide nothing of Cloud Bank on either side of the ship. For a moment, far, far to the port side of the ship, you thought you saw a dark shape.
Like moving?
No.
Or
like a land mass. A
Okay.
land mass.
I feel my pouch. Is it still moving?
You feel it? You feel a movement in your pouch.
What's in my pouch? Did I pick up another animal? Unbelt my pouch and like slowly tie the tar away from me as I can and open it.
And look in?
And look
In your pouch, I mean, there's the normal scattering of money. You see there's the little iron ball with the joints on it. You see, what else is normally in your pouch?
I've got maybe some candle stick hanging out in there.
I do think that when you look in, though, the candle, the wax candle, has like 4 little holes poked into it that weren't there last time you looked at it.
My pouch out.
Okay, you dump it out on the deck of the ship. You hear like the coins hit. The candle hits and rolls, but nothing unusual in your pouch.
Something was moving in my pouch. And
Hoot has like stepping over and looking at your pile of rations and like poking at it.
Are the crystals still in there?
They're in there. And I looked down and I well, it wasn't the money. It wasn't. It had to be this. I didn't have this yesterday. And I poked the little egg behind it there.
Okay. You tap it and it kind of rolls around a little bit. It's not round. It's egg sized, but it's enough. It's not even that smooth. It's enough of like plates and joints that when you tips over into another small edge, but it doesn't really roll anywhere. But yeah, not much to it.
I picked the coins and Or I start putting the coins back in my pocket, looking at this little egg thing.
Okay.
I'm gonna throw it over the side. I don't know what it is. I don't think it's the money or the candle. It's just a candle. And I put the candle back.
Okay.
It was moving. And I poke it again.
Aside, hold on a second. Yell up, Hillman!
She looks down to you.
I think I spotted something off in that direction.
Okay. She looks over that way, and you hear her yell, Ranford, get the spyglass! You feel the ship start to list to the side.
And if the egg isn't moving at all, I'm gonna pick it up.
Okay. Yeah, it's not moving. You pick it up.
Try and open it.
Give me an investigation check. Are you watching him do this?
Yeah.
Avo? Okay. What'd you get?
I know all its secret.
Okay. What'd you get?
A nat 20.
Nat 20. Your fingers kind of play over this egg-sized iron ball with all these plates and joints on it. At one point, your hand covers the ball that you're holding so that you can one of the joints. It covers it so that Avo can't see it. And when it covers it so that Avo can't see it, only you can see it at the moment, you flinch. You see Avo, you watch Theric like hard flinch. You see like a hard flinch because, and you couldn't control it, Theric, but you covered view of this thing from Avo. Part of it opened up, and it is a mechanical spider of some sort that opened up and like gripped onto your finger. It didn't attack you. Its sudden movement and its form were disturbing. But it grips onto your finger, but as you flinch and your hand moves, as soon as it gets back into where Avo could see it, it is a ball again. It gripped for a second and then...
You alright?
You didn't see that?
Saw you freak out a little bit.
I set it on the ground and I make a house with my hands over it.
So that only you can see it? When only you can see it, you watch as its legs unfold. This small mechanical spider, it stands up and just kind of takes a few small steps back and forth. Has very, very pointed legs, and you can tell that it must have been walking on your candle, which is what with the holes in it.
Check this out!
As soon as you move your hands, Avo, you look down and there's just the little mechanical ball that's sitting there.
That's outstanding.
Give him a little side eye. What? Oh, I gotta give these crystals to the captain. And I pick up the ball and I... Hey, you wanna see? Hide it. Play hide the ball.
I'll take it.
And then I go...
You take the ball from him?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just...
It's a little tiny ball of plates and gears that are all matched together. Do you want to try to figure it out, whatever he's talking about?
No, I just slip it in my pocket.
You just put it in your pocket. Okay. At which point, Theric, you've walked towards the captain's quarters?
Yeah.
I actually think you only cover about half the distance of the deck. You hear Ranford, "Land ho!" And the ship starts to buzz with activity. In fact, the captain's door immediately opens, and Captain Fairfax starts stepping out and putting his hat on as he sees you walking towards him.
Captain!
Mr. Theric.
I pull out this bag. I said, I got this bag I traded for him. He said they're Umber-like crystals.
He reaches his hand out to take it, and he says, "Who gave you this?"
I don't know, some guy at the bar. I traded for him. Just a red vial and something else. I don't even remember what it was.
He opens the bag and looks in, scoops a few of them out into his hand, holds them. Give me an insight check.
$17.
Captain Fairfax is trying to be polite. He says, "Well, these are very nice, Master Theric. I hate to be the bearer of bad news for you," but he dumps most of them back in until he's only holding one. and he holds it up and pinches it, and it cracks. It doesn't shatter, but it cracks. And he says, "These are baubles. I'm afraid you've been had by a con man."
If I would have paid my own money, I might be upset.
He drops that cracked one back into the bag, and he says, "If you'd like these back, and you might be able to find some use for them."
Why did you put the cracked one back? Now I gotta find it.
Well, perhaps after we've dealt with this new island that we're coming up on, and he gives you a nice tap on the shoulder, friendly tap, nods to you, Master Abo. See, we found an island. What do we have, Hillman? And you see Hillman kind of guiding the Lonely Horizon in towards the front of the ship, coming into view out of the mist. This is a small island, roughly the same size landmass-wise as the Song of Iron, but instead of any spread out to this compact island that is a vertical island. It is kind of spired down into a thick stone base. There's a tight cluster of pine trees at the top, and it looks like almost like a mountain in the middle of it, surrounded by heavy pine forest. You don't think that the entire thing is much more than maybe a half mile wide. The Lonely Horizon, as it sails towards this, the entire island from the top of it, the pine forest perspective, is heavy, shrouded in mist. And you realize that the reason it was so hard to see from far away is the mist shrouding it as well. The captain is up at the front of the ship, and he kind of like one leg up on the railing, kind of watching this island come into view, and he says, "Well, I'm not familiar with this one. Not one I've been to before. It'll have to do, hopefully, for us to land and make some repairs and maybe find some supplies." And you hear Cilantro, who has come up on deck. She says, we'll be needing some fresh water. We've gone through the water that we had dealing with the fires. The captain says, we'll get what we need while we're here. The Lonely Horizon drifts in, and Quartermaster Hillman brings the ship into a edge of the island, landing on a rocky outcropping. That the outcropping kind of provides almost like a plateau that leads down into a forest, again heavily shrouded in mist, and you're on the very outskirts of this small island as the Lonely Horizon touches ground for the first time since you've been on it. It's been hovering the entire time, but it touches ground with a little crunch and comes to settle, and the captain starts issuing orders. "Look alive, fellas. We're gonna disembark here in a moment and see what we can find on the island that'll be of some use." Did you need to take any preparation before you were going to leave the ship? Anything that you do as people start to make ready to disembark from the Lonely Horizon onto this new island?
They say, "Who? Think you can find some water?"
You hear, "Who can find water? Go now?" And with a flap of his wings, he takes off into the air. It is... owls fly with no noise. There's no sound as he flies. It is a silent, just glide away, and then he is lost into the darkness of the pines. He's fast enough his mental connection for a few moments before he loses that connection, but he's off looking for water. Abo, you're grabbing a light pack. You've got your backpack.
I've just a couple rations is all, and my weapons. I'm not taking money or anything like that. I've got a ton of rations packed in it, but I'm not taking those all with me. Just enough if I were to get stranded a day or two out there, then I'd be good to go.
Okay. The ship is made ready. It's basically secured. The captain, at that point, once everybody is done making the ship as secure on the rocky outcropping as it can be, he says, "All right, Ranford, Webb, Theric, Abo, take a look around. Don't go too far. Just see what we can find. Anything that is going to be useful, we're going to need adhesives. We're going to need rope. We're going to need fresh water. Any meats, fruits, vegetables that we can find. Anything that we can use to resupply the ship. Go ahead and, like I say, don't go too far though. Just a quick foray out to see what we can find. And then he turns and he says, Lonnie, Nani, crossbows. And Hillman, keep a wry eye out in the crow's nest, please. And he heads up to the captain's deck and looks like he has a couple charts that he's looking at. At which point, Ranford and Webb hop off the side of the ship, use ropes to rappel down to the ground level.
Follow them over.
Okay.
Oh, me too.
Okay. Have you gone back to disguising the wings, or are you letting them be visible now?
I'm letting it be visible now.
Okay.
While we're on the ship.
So you just fly off the ship then?
Yes.
Okay. Give me, as you touch base on the ground, as the four of you set foot on this island, there is a sudden fluttering of birds from about maybe a few hundred yards into the forest. Just this quick disturbance as just 1,000 starlings up into the air. Theric, I want you to roll a straight luck check for me. And I'm just telling you right now, you want it to be hot.
Am I using pluses for luck?
Nope, it's just luck.
Eight.
That burst of birds flies up into the air, and you feel a small ping of magical energy, as though you don't have a ability to communicate, you were still connected to Hoot up until that moment.
And he's gone. Easy come, easy go.
And you know that somewhere in the forest, you don't know what happened, but Hoot ceased to exist on this plane. You know he's not dead. He's a fey creature that was just sent back to his own plane. How that happened, you're not sure.
I knew him for a very short period of time. I said, there's something that attacks things towards those birds.
You see Ranford and Webb are like busy looking under like some rocks and stuff, and they're like, something that attacks something. Like what?
An owl.
An owl that attacks things?
No. My owl. I had an owl. You didn't see him fly off?
And Webb goes, oh, he did have an owl. He did have an owl.
I hang my head.
Okay. Well.
Something got to eat some meat. That was probably inconsiderate.
Ranford kind of like loosens his saber on his side, and Webb has a light crossbow that he's holding, but they both kind of like are nervously looking towards the trees now that you've said this, but they do continue to try to look around for whatever supplies they can find. What would you two be doing?
Who must be avenged?
I will be.
And I start making my way towards the birds.
Okay. Are you making your way towards where you believe this happened? You're not looking for supplies?
I'm going to follow him, but I'm going to be keeping my eyes out for anything that we might be able to use on the way.
Okay. So, Theric, are you looking around for supplies, or are you just trying to find what happened to Hoot?
Well, I know there's no water around here, and I'm looking for water. I'm just looking for water.
Okay, so you're looking for water, specifically. Okay. Give me an investigation check. As both of you give me investigation checks as you're making your way into the woods. And you realize that wherever this happened with Hoot is much further than what Captain Fairfax had said to go. He said stay near the edges of the tree line. What'd you get on your investigation checks?
16.
16?
50.
15. Avo, you are following along behind Theric as Theric marches towards the tree line. You can tell, I think, that from Theric's posture and walk that he's more interested in where he's going than what he's trying to find. But you step in, you didn't see it, it was just in like a pile of mud. But you step through this little muddy patch and your foot sticks to something to a point where you physically had to pull it away. You look down and there's this strange orange, like uncovered by the mud, but it's like a lump about the size of almost like a small melon, of just this lumpy, very viscous material. You're off of the rocky outcropping and into some of the dirt area. And you have no idea, like, you stepped in it, you don't recognize what this is right off the bat.
Can I... Is there...
Would you say anything as Theric continues to walk?
I stop for a second and turn around. I'm like, what's going on?
I think I've got something we can use.
But who must be avenged?
I'll help you with that. We need to think about our predicament as well.
We have time for that.
There's trees around?
You're almost to the tree line. Yeah, right now you're just in like bushes, but once you hit the tree line, it's just a dark, mist-filled forest.
Just thinking of some way to mark this spot.
I mean, there's small like branches and rocks and stuff. You can make a marker, and Ranford and Webb are not too far away.
I'll whistle over to Ranford and Webb.
Okay. Webb's like, what'd you find?
Some kind of viscous substance. We might be able to use it.
They both come over and take a look at it, and I think Ranford like pokes at it with his finger, and then you notice as like he pokes it, his finger like sinks in, and then he has to like it stretches as he pulls it out. He's like, "This is disgusting. What is this?" Webb says, "We should tell the captain what we found. It might work for the adhesive." And a few minutes go by, as long as Theric is willing to stay there.
Well, I look at Ranford Webb and I say, I gotta go see what happened.
All right, the captain didn't want us to go into the woods, but
I'm gonna help him.
All right, well, keep an eye out for any more of this. We'll take this back to the ship, and we'll let the captain know that we're going to tell the captain you were going to go look for more of this.
We'll be back as quick as we can.
All right? And Webb is like, yeah, we'll be looking for more of this. Just try to bring back some more of this. And they like start using like a big rock to shovel it up to try to carry it back to the ship. And the two of you step off of the, not path, but the beaten down area outside of the tree line and enter the darkened area beneath the boughs of the pine trees. Almost immediately, sound dampens. You no longer hear the cries of birds or the whistle of wind. There is no undergrowth. It's just large, towering tall pines that reach up and up and up. And this entire island slowly forms to a higher point in the middle. So the entire time as you're walking into this, you are walking slightly uphill, finding your way along, not trails, but little outcroppings here and there, clearings between pines that are easier to navigate, and trying to find wherever it was that Hoop vanished. Give me an investigation check to, as best, just Theric connection, as best as you can to pinpoint the location. 19. You walk for several minutes. What's that?
As I'm looking around.
And you're on the ground.
I'm, jumping.
Okay. How high up into the trees are you going? Or are you just staying like...
I'm staying like at the same level as Abo's head.
Okay, so
you're going uphill.
You're not necessarily walking, but you're not flying high. You're just using your wings so that you're not walking uphill as much. Okay. You said you got a 19 on investigation. As you walk for several minutes deeper and deeper into the forest, you lose all sound of the ship. You don't hear the people behind you anymore. It's just dark here, and it grows quite dark. Dark enough that the need for some light might be apparent.
Open the canary lantern.
You wind the canary lantern. The canary, do you want it to fly around or just stay in the lantern?
No, it can stay in the lantern.
But the light. You allow the light to shine from the canary lantern. And after several minutes of walking, you reach a spot in the forest as close as you can approximate to where the connection ended. based on how your arcane abilities work and some of the readings that you've done, it's a rough guess at best. But now that you're in this area, if you'd like to investigate the area...
Look around, see if we see any tracks. 13.
Okay.
Look around as well.
Okay.
If you didn't find anything, I didn't find anything.
You spend a few minutes walking around, checking the area, looking for tracks. With a 13, I think there is a moment where, Theric, you find not what you would call a track, and you're not a outdoorsman by any means, so you're not able to identify what it was, but there was something here that disturbed the pine needles, and it was large enough that it's bigger than your footprints. Not as big as Avo's, but bigger than yours.
Size bird. I just start looking through the branches, see if I see anything, and I'm like...
Make a perception check.
No.
You don't see anything. You take a look in the branches. They're mostly they're mostly shrouded in shadow and mist. But you spend a few minutes looking around. You don't see anything other than pine boughs. But with your passive perceptions, the two of you, I think, begin to smell water. You can smell fresh water from further up the mountain.
Start making my way towards the water.
Okay. You begin to climb the mountain, and out of the shadows, about 30 seconds after you begin to climb towards the water, a shape suddenly lunges, coming from high above, crashing down through the tree, as a 5-foot-long, black-furred cat, eyes glowing yellow, lunges out of the shadows and tries to grab you, Theric. You barely avoid the snapping jaws and grasping claws of this puma as it lands and snarls. It would be initiative if you'd like. Well, it's going to be initiative no matter what.
20.
4.
Okay. Theric, you are able to react first. There is a 5-foot-long black-furred puma that has landed and is only a few feet from you as it snarls and looks like it's tensing up for another leap.
So Theric will look around, and then he will cast the sleep spell. So Theric will chant, and
Is it verbal somatic material? What is it?
all of the above. So Theric will take a pitch of sand, and he will start dropping it in his other hand as he chants, "You killed my outward. You must sleep now."
Okay, you see the slight sparkle of sand and magic energy rush out, hit this creature. As it washes over it, you see it kind of like shakes its head, kind of like growls and hisses a little bit, but it looks like your spell was not quite strong enough to affect this.
And I look at Avo. Oh shit.
Is that it for you?
Yep.
Avo, you see this large cat land on the bed of the forest, growling as it eyes Theric.
Pull my rapier.
Okay.
I
Blade comes out.
whisper a hex towards the creature.
Okay. So a little burst of white light.
And then I will lunge at the cat.
Okay.
I'm going to give it disadvantage on dexterity checks.
Disadvantage on dexterity checks. Roger. Copy that.
In armor class.
Yeah, your blade nicks into the thing.
16 points of damage.
16 points of damage. Okay. It growls, not a roar, but just a low growl in its throat as your blade digs into it, one of its shoulders, and it snaps at the blade as you withdraw it. It does not care for that behavior, and you notice it, like you can tell, like it was looking. This is a wild animal. You both recognize this was looking for a quick meal. It immediately tries to jump away back into the darkness. Avo, would you take a attack of opportunity as this thing tries to run away?
I will take a slash at it, yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to miss.
Okay. Yeah, it is a blur of black fur and claws and yellow eyes as it growls, leaps into the darkness, and is... Let's see. Vanishes into the dark. You can make perception checks if you'd like to see if you can still spot it as it runs away.
Do we hear it run off?
With a perception check, you might. Theric, with the lantern lit, you have advantage on perception checks.
I got a 14.
14, okay.
I got a 11.
It is gone. It jumped into the darkness, and you didn't hear it, you can't see it, it just vanishes into the dark.
Satisfied or not?
Well, let's just go find the water.
Yeah, let's find the water.
You take a second, collect yourselves, then begin picking your way further and further up this steep mountainside covered in these pine trees. As you climb, you start to feel the cool touch of not fog, but mist on your skin as there seems to be water in the air slightly, and you're starting to hear the rush of falling water. And as you get closer, you hear a waterfall coming up somewhere. You're not sure where it's coming from, how an island that's only a half-mile wide has a waterfall, but climbing up and up and up through the mist, you eventually reach a small clearing very near the pinnacle of the island. You can see the mountain continues up that this island is built out of for maybe another 200 feet. There's what you would call a pond, maybe 100, 150 feet across, and out of the edge of the side of the peak, a spray of water raining down into this pond. That tributary does not have a tributary, doesn't have a exit, doesn't drain anywhere. It's just a waterfall that lands into a pond in a small forest clearing. And you both can see, passive ability, how attentive you are to your surroundings. There is a dark spot, a dark patch in the stone behind the waterfall. Where it falls, there's something behind the waterfall, and you can tell that from this edge of the pond.
Like a depression, or just unseeable?
You probably have to go closer to check it. But you're maybe 100, 150 feet away from that edge. You'd have to circle the pond and go look if you wanted to know more about that. But the water is crystal clear. You can see there's a few fish that swim around in there. You can also see there's like cattails and it looks like some edible vegetables that might grow, or vegetation, not vegetables. There's some edible vegetation that might grow on the edges of this.
Well, Captain leaves us. We got water. And fish.
I will fill my water skin.
Okay. You fill your water skin?
Then I will circle the pond out. If you're going, then.
Okay. The two of you begin circling the pond.
Yeah.
Are you doing anything while you're doing this? You're just walking over?
I'm watching the depression, make sure that I don't see anything in there, make sure it's not a cave, because I'm assuming that if it is a cave, there might be something in there.
Okay.
And then at the same time, I will fly while he's walking there. I'll try and fly up over the trees if it's not too far and see how far the ship is from us.
Okay. You fly up. You said you were watching, though. Give me a perception check. And Abel, you're just making your way confidently to behind the waterfall?
I mean, if I see any movement, that'll be what I'm looking for, but beyond that, no.
Give me a perception check then. What'd you get?
What's 7?
With advantage, right? Because
No.
you have the lantern.
12.
A 9.
All right, you're both doing great.
Well, you know, I used up all my good rolls.
So the depression behind the waterfall, nothing is moving there as you're getting closer and closer to it. Theric, you go flying up into the air, your wings buzzing. You get high enough up. It takes you a bit. Like, you have to fly a good 150 feet up to clear the tree line to see past.
Well, I won't fly up then, because that'll take me, like, a while. I
Okay.
only fly at 30.
Right. So you begin to fly up, then realize how tall these trees are. Like, imagine these are 100, 200 foot tall pine trees. These are gigantic, primeval pine trees. You realize that's a wasted effort, or you don't have the time for that. You fly back down and join your friend as you two step around the edge of the main fall of the waterfall. See a cave, a depression in the rock that is more than just a small dent. This is a cave maybe 5 to 6 feet wide that looks like it descends down almost immediately. You see on the edge of this cave, a small globule of orange substance that looks familiar to you.
Do we want to go back and tell the captain, or do we want to keep going forward? Do you think? I don't think they're going to leave us. I don't think they're gonna...
We're going to need to get more people. So we might as well go get them. We'll come back with them. And it'll be, if there is something, we'll have more chance of taking it with more of us than just the two of us. We need to get barrels up here to get this water. We're not trekking back and forth.
Did you drink the water? I mean, it's clear, but it still might not be clear.
I didn't yet.
Alright, well then... I'll fly back and get them and you wait here, or do you want to go back together?
That's fine with me. It'll be quicker if you fly back.
Still gonna take me a while, you realize that, right?
Understandable.
Here. With a big cave behind you.
I can handle it.
Okay. I take off. I'm gonna go up above the trees, since I know there's shadowy cats in the trees that might attack a flying owl.
Okay.
And I'm not much bigger.
Thing you see of Theric at this moment is he flies hundreds of feet up into the air before he starts to arc back towards the ship. By the time he starts to arc back, he is a small speck in the sky, and you are left in the sound of the rushing waterfall. And
take a drink. Imagine I'm pretty thirsty.
it is clear and perfect water, refreshing and cold.
All right. Find a spot to sit where I've got a decent view of my surroundings.
Okay, so you're sitting down, you're kind of taking an eye out, keeping an eye out. Give me another perception check.
$16.
You sit down, you find a little rock that large enough to serve as a stool that's on the side of the water.
I will go to the side of the cave that has a rock face.
Okay, and put your back
have my
against the
back
mountain.
to that. Yeah.
Okay, against the rock face. You sit there, relax for a minute, keep an eye out,
Every once in a while, I might look up too.
Okay. About 2 minutes after Theric left, probably take you 5. The whole place is only about a half mile wide. Now you're traveling a little distance as well, but it'll take you about 5 minutes to fly back. About 2 minutes after Theric left, Avo, you're sitting there keeping an eye out, and you start to see yellow lantern-like eyes in the forest. You see them, and then another pair of them, and then another pair of them. But they're staying inside the forest edge. You're in a small clearing around the water, and you see at least 3 sets of eyes in the darkness watching you.
All right. Well, in preparation, I'm going to stay in my spot, but I'm going to stand and get my blade out.
Okay, you stand and draw your blade. The eyes are, for the most part, unblinking. I think at one point you hear a low growl kind of slowly echo out of the darkness, but they don't seem to be moving forward.
Wait.
A few minutes have passed. You're flying along the treetops. Theric, give me a perception check while you're flying. Is the lantern still out now that you're not in the darkness? Or would you have put it away? Or are you keeping it?
I don't think I would have thought about putting it away
Okay.
because Avo's back there.
Yeah.
So I don't know that I would have thought to turn the light off.
Sure. That means you still have advantage on this then.
18.
You do see occasionally as you're flying 100-foot, 200-foot tall trees, a black shape kind of dart between treetops, leap and land.
Okay. Well, as I'm flying,
Not, and I don't mean the same one following you. Seeing multiples of these things moving.
right. So I'm gonna stop
Okay.
because
About halfway back to the ship, you pull your wings
as
up
I
and
see
stop.
all these panthers, I know that we're gonna have to take the trip through unless we go back. I go get you, and we fly the ship over, and we can drop buckets from the ship. As I look at all these panthers, and I'm thinking, if they attack Avo, he might be able to fend off one or two. Or I've seen too many, and I turn around and I'm bringing it back Avo.
Okay.
I, just for the sake of curiosity and have this ability, I'm going to whisper a prayer to Grace and push my senses out for my divine sense to see if I can feel anything in the area.
Anything like what?
Cover anything supernatural. If they're just animals, I'm not gonna have any
I think
sense of them.
specifically though the spell is for fae.
It's for
fiend.
undead, fae, fiend. Hold on. Celestial, fiend, and undead
Okay.
within 60 feet.
Not fae? Celestial, fiend, and undead.
Yep.
Huh, okay. You take a moment, whisper a small prayer, touch your holy symbol that hangs around your neck, and push your senses out. And you feel like this warm energy, but just comfort that extends out from you. And you don't detect anything that makes your senses fill with alarm.
Okay. Other than that, I'm just maintaining my stance.
A minute or so passes as you happen to glance up and just keeping an eye on your surroundings as you see Theric diving back into the clearing that you're in, flying back to you.
That was
There's a lot of cats, Avo. A lot of cats.
look out and then I'm aware.
Theric, you fly down and are level with Avo to talk to him, and when Theric comes down to talk to you and you say you're aware, you see 6 of them now start to pace out of the forest towards you, starting to close in from all sides.
Do you want to go into the cave, or do you? I don't think we can make it back. I can make it back, but I don't think you can make it back.
Do these seem like normal cats?
Yeah, they. I mean, give me a survival check, or a nature check, either one.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of cats.
I mean, you've probably read about them before or seen pictures in the library, but they were never a source of interest for you. So you don't see anything otherworldly about them.
Okay. All right.
They are pacing slowly forward, closing the distance. They're 50 feet away right now. As they begin to close in.
You said there was more of that sticky substance in the cave?
At the mouth of the cave, you saw like a small piece of it about this big.
Let's go behind the waterfall.
Alright. Who knows what's in there, but okay.
So you two step towards the mouth of the cave?
Yeah.
I say, fight these 6 cats or go into the waterfall.
We'll go into the water.
The cave is only about 5 feet wide, so from a tactical perspective, I
It's
think
better
you can both see
go
that
there,
that would
yeah.
be better as well. But as you two step into the mouth of the cave, you see all the cats immediately, their ears flatten, there's a low growl and hiss coming from them, their haunches pop up, and then they start to back away.
I have a feeling there's something worse in the cave. But at least they're backing off.
Well, we can... I say, I think maybe you're right since they're afraid, but we can take it together, or I can go get the ship. But it's going to take some time for the ship to get here.
You're going to actually do it this time?
Well, I'll be happy to, but there's a lot of cats. Do you want me to go get the ship? Or do you want to go in the cave?
I guess you're already here. Let's check the cave quick.
Alright.
If it's deep, then maybe you should go back.
Cave it is.
And as you turn, and the light of the canary lantern begins to light your way down into this cave, and you hear your echoes of your voice. Cave it is. Cave it is. It echoes and echoes and echoes. I think that's where we'll end for tonight. This has been Gen XP. Thanks for listening. Catch you next week.